I'm not overwhelmed. I'm just happy that, I'm getting so much love from the audiences. And it's taken me a really long time, 10 years. Um, and I just feel like my 10 years actually didn't go for a waste.
Were there days where you didn't feel like doing it, but you still gave it your 100%?
Yeah. They were not days, they were years. And it was very difficult. But now you know what, things are difficult in life, but you don't give up. I worked with some really good actors, and I really feel like those people who are really commendable at their job, they're not insecure.
When all of these things were happening pre-release,
Yeah.
were you a little disappointed?
Obviously, it's very disappointing, because the thing is, you give it your 100%, and you don't anticipate or analyze these things to happen.
Well, some called her the show stealer, some called her the perfect casting, some called her too versatile. But I think for me, she is the complete perfect package when it comes to acting. And it's so rare to see brilliant actors get their due. And I'm so happy she's finally gotten it. And welcoming Patralekhaa only on the Free Press Journal. Hi, Patralekhaa, how have you been?
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words.
You're most welcome. I truly feel that way because, we're finally in that stage where it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. If you are talented, you will get your due. How do you feel? Is it getting overwhelming now?
I'm not overwhelmed. I'm just happy that, I'm getting so much love from the audiences. And it's taken me a really long time, 10 years. And I just feel like my 10 years actually didn't go for a waste.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I didn't waste my time.
Of course.
Yeah.
You also are somebody who's proven that the 10 years that you gave in, of course, you had to be very patient because every day was not a good day. I saw your interview with Nan where you was saying that, you had to go through a lot of hardships even after your first film. Were there days where you didn't feel like doing it, but you still gave it your...
Yeah. They were not days, they were years. And it was very difficult. But now you know what, things are difficult in life.
Yeah.
But you don't give up. If you like something, you want to do something, just don't give up. Be at it. And also, I'm not saying like from now onwards, my journey is going to become easier. I'm sure nothing is going to change, but I'm just confident that I'll keep sailing through. No matter what it is, just keep at it and one sails through.
I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel after seeing you and Phule as Savitri Bai ji, a lot of casting directors or directors or filmmakers will look at you differently. I feel this way. Like if I was somebody who's making movies, I would take notice and sit back and think, okay, she fits here, and she could fit anywhere because it's a very, you've done an incredible job. Do you not feel that it's going to change that?
I don't know. I really don't know because I don't want to sound pessimistic, but casting is a very different thing altogether. And nowadays with, your following and everything, casting becomes a different process. I hope things change because of Phule, but am I expecting it really? No.
Okay.
But am I happy?
Yeah.
Very happy. I've come this far, I will go further.
Yeah.
That I'm confident about myself.
Where does that attitude come from? Because honestly, if somebody else was in your position, they would be like, they would be way more excited because I've heard this, that when you get too excited and things don't work out, you get disappointed.
Yeah.
So you have a very subtle, very positive attitude.
Again, it goes back to my decade of being in this industry. I've seen good days, I've seen bad days. Actually, nothing matters, At the end of it, it's you living with yourself.
Yeah.
And it's really about that. And I realized one thing very early on, because I used to be so, I used to see myself through through how well I'm doing at work.
Okay.
I used to relate myself that way, which I stopped. I'm more than that. Work is a part of my life. It's not my life.
Yeah, I think for few of us, it takes our entire life to
Life,
understand that.
yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah.
But you know, when you were offered Phule, and of course,
Yeah.
it was a serious subject, and the director showed full faith in you
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Pratik. When you were playing it, did
Yeah.
you sort of realize that this is going to be? Did you think about the response?
No, no, not really. You never think, when you're taking upon a subject, uh, you don't understand. You're doing it because you like the script, you like the people associated with it, but you don't think about, at least for an actor like me, I don't think about what is the impact. Though, are they like gods of Maharashtra in Maharashtra, and they're icons of Maharashtra. I knew the reach that they have, but also it was a very daunting task because they are such big icons that have left such an incredible mark. It was a bit scary to fill in those shoes, and also there was so much that has so many people have already acted in films and in series, in serials. So yeah, I didn't begin with thinking that what impact it's going to have, but I'm really happy.
Yeah, you know, today everybody is like too critical about cinema,
Yeah.
which is not made for,
Correct.
you know, too being too critical. But even then,
It's creativity,
yeah,
right? It's flowing.
exactly. But that being said, when you get critical acclaim today, it's very difficult because everybody with a phone is critic today.
Yeah.
And when you read, like I mentioned in my intro, these are words that I've taken from Phule reviews that have, you know, described you as that she's the perfect fit or she's the show stealer. When you hear these big praises coming from some of the finest critics in India, does that make you feel a little overwhelmed? Also, not, you know, like you have done your job well. Does that make you feel that?
Uh, Obviously, I feel like I feel, I feel a certain kind of, when you win a race, how does it feel? It feels good, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same dopamine rush I'm having. And also, critics, maybe they don't realize it, but they have a really big impact on a person's career, a film's box office number, hit, flop, whatever. They have a they have an integral part to play. So for them saying yes to um, my acting part in Savitri really means a lot to me, yeah? Because I know it's going to reach a lot many people.
No, that is true. You know, even Pratik is a fine actor.
Oh my God,
You've spoken so much
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
But you know, often when you have an actor who's equally fine or even better, your performance also escalates. Did you feel that?
100%. I always feel like if you have a good co-actor, half your battle is won. Because more, what happens is, because they are performing at that level, you need to react also at that level, right? If you are analyzing that scene in a particular way, but your co-actor who's so good is analyzing the scene the other way, somehow it kind of elevates the scene. So definitely, it's like a blessing to have a great co-actor, yeah.
You know, even
And a great co-actor. Sorry,
No
I
worries.
had to intervene. I've seen I've worked with some really good actors, and I really feel like those people who are really commendable at their job, they're not insecure.
Of course.
They will always try to elevate their co-actor's performance,
Yeah.
because they know that it's not only about them, it's about the scene, it's about the film.
That is true. He worked with Yami before this, and she said the exact same thing. Like, he's very secure, and you know, gone are those days when the actress was made to feel small or less. I think this film is such a big proof of that. Do you think it will also change the way to, you know, it's sad that even today this film is as relevant. I mean, of course, good for the movie, but the story, again, you know, even today in 2025, we are fighting for rights of women. If not here, like, we're just in a part of Bombay, but there's like the entire world it's happening. Do you think it's going to maybe bring that little change in somebody's life?
I really hope so, uh, and that's why I want it to reach that many people. To educate a girl's child is really uplifting your family, your society, your country at the grassroots level. So, and Jyotiba and Savitribai, they were continuously working. They were at it. Be it the girl child, be it reforming the widows, or helping the backward classes. They were continuously at it. They didn't think about themselves. They were thinking as a society. They actually had a vision that what we are fighting for today, it's still going to be there. So yeah.
You know, before the film's release, of course, a lot of
Yeah.
people had something to say about it, and maybe people misunderstood, because when I watched the film,
Yeah.
I
It was
really,
not-
it was not what it.
And also
made me
you
thought.
saw how Brahmins actually helped Jyotiba and Savitribai.
And that exact moment, I thought that only if we let art be art and it come out, But of course, I am just a journalist thinking that way, as somebody who's given her heart and soul to it and worked for so hard. When all of these things were happening pre-release,
Yeah.
were you a little disappointed?
Obviously, it's very disappointing, yeah, because the thing is, you give it your 100%, and you don't anticipate or analyze these things to happen. Actually, and also sometimes it can go really wrong, Movies get shot, shows get shot, but the kind of hard work that goes behind it is really crazy, is the word.
That is true. You know, when you play a character like this one, I've often heard that you forget to switch off and switch on.
Yeah, I don't have that. Yeah, I don't have that thing in me to switch off. Uh, I do carry it back home, and it's subconsciously playing. It's not like consciously I'm sitting with you and I'm like behaving like, a character. And only I realize it, and I feel like something's gone off. Like, for example, like in IC814, we were shooting in the aircraft for 15 days, and it was claustrophobic, and the toilet was flowing, and you psych yourself thinking that the commode is overflowing, so it's smelling a certain way, so it gets very uncomfortable. And plus the plane is hijacked, and after the shoot I sit on a plane to go to London to shoot for another film, and all I'm thinking is the plane might get hijacked.
Oh
What
my
will happen?
God.
So yeah, it can get a little
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Even that was such a brilliantly made show,
Yeah, that
I
is-
can't imagine any one of you, like nobody else could play that now that I've watched it. Even Wild Wild Punjab, like basically there's a versatility that I see in the characters that you play, and you also come across as somebody who values quality over quantity. Correct me if I'm wrong, that is what I feel about your filmography. Do you take a lot of time analyzing what you want to do next?
No, honestly, I don't analyze so much. For me, most important things are like the script and the director. और बाकी सब तो ठीक है,
ठीक है, हो जाएगा.
हो जाता है.
Okay, what new challenges excite you now that it's been a success, and I have this feeling that of course a lot of things will change for you, but what do you want to explore now as an artist?
As an actor, I want to, I really like relationship dramas. That's something that I really want to be a part of. I'm watching a lot of crime docu-series on Netflix.
Wow.
So I just feel like some crime series or a film would also be interesting.
And lastly, before we wrap this, Patralekhaa, do you feel we're finally at this stage where it really doesn't matter the kind of work you've done in the past or what you're doing, but if you truly are talented, you will sort of get your due now, like earlier I mentioned?
Yeah, I would like to believe that, but your Instagram number is a very important thing.
Really?
Yeah.
It's still happening. I heard 3-4 years back it used to happen, COVID ke time pe.
No, but I think it does play. No, but listen, if you're talented, and I just feel like there's so much content being made right now, and you need actors for them. So I feel like this is the time for everyone to shine.
Lovely. On that note, thank you so much for joining in, and huge
Thank you so much.
congratulations.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Patralekhaa, and you're watching me on Free Press Journal.